CMU's Wean Hall is taking on a new appearance. During the construction of Scott Hall, the outside of Wean, which generations of computer science alumni have called Mother Wean, is being repaired. And the exterior of Wean is being coated with a new waterproof epoxy. The side of Wean along the cut facing Hammerschlag and Baker and Porter Halls is already complete. Work has now moved to the north side of the building facing Newell Simon, Gates, and Hillman. We asked Bob Reppy of CMU's Office of Campus Design and Facility Development to explain what's happening.
What you're seeing at Wean is a change in the way that Wean is going to appear for the rest of its existence. Its life as an exposed concrete building is going to be changing to a building that will be sealed. There's been a number of issues that have been happening over time. The building, which is well over 40 years old now, has a number of issues with the concrete. The concrete allows water to penetrate into the building, and the rebar that was set into the building was rebar that was before there was chemical or treated with a coating on it to prevent rusting. So the rebar that is inside the building does not have this coating. And over time, water has penetrated into the building and the rebar is starting to rust. As the rebar rusts, it starts to expand and therefore it's popping the concrete off the building and cracking it. And so you've seen in many cases, you'll see big cracks in the building. You'll see instances on the building where you'll have rust coming down the building. That's from the rebar inside the building and the water that's penetrating causing that. We started doing a study on this about 2 years ago where we did a test section where you can see where it's the lighter sealant is on it right now. And then the second phase is we're going by and over the entire building, taking a hammer and testing to find where the weak spots are in the concrete. When we find one of those weak spots, then we cut that out and expose the rebar to where it is and polish the rebar, get all the rust off the rebar, and then we patch it with new concrete. That new concrete then is the patching and the molding that's done for it is intended to match the existing, and then the entire building is going to be sealed with a waterproof paint type material that will seal and waterproof the entire building. That then will prevent water from penetrating into the building and so that this won't be happening again in the future. We went through a long process working with the university's design review committee to study different ways of treating the building. First we looked at two different means of dealing with the skin of the building, waterproofing it. We looked at either putting an applied coating on the building, like what we've ultimately chose to do, or adding a new waterproof skin to the building. The waterproof skin, at the end of the day, was not only more costly, but it also changed the appearance of the building dramatically. And one of the decisions that the Design Review Committee wanted to do was maintain the aesthetic of the building, which is this brutalist architecture from the 1970s, although designed that way, but also working very much in context with the rest of campus. And so we went through a series of color tests with the sealant to find a color that most accurately represented the original concrete of the building, and that also worked with the precast panels which sit between the windows on the building. Those panels there's no problems with those panels, and they will remain as they are. They are not getting sealed. And so the intention was to find a color that worked with the precast panels and that maintained the long-term architecture of the building.
You're doing most of this work at night. Why is that?
Because of the residents in the building, the tapping that we have to do to find the weak spots on the building, the tapping, the sound obviously penetrates through the concrete and through the residents in the building, and as well as the pressure washing is loud. We wanted to work with the tenants of the building to make sure that they weren't adversely affected, and so a majority of the work is actually happening in the off hours between 6 at night and 1 o'clock in the morning.
And if all goes well, when will this coating process be completed?
If the weather holds, we should be complete by the end of this year before it gets cold.